Distinguishing yourself in a competitive market can feel kind of challenging. You want your clients that you have right now to feel seen and heard and understood and cherished, and you want to be able to influence the perception of your studio to potential clients as well. And that's what we're talking about today. It's all about perception. In this broadcast, we're going to discuss 3 specific ways that you can positively influence client perception of your music studio so that you can influence client retention and new client attraction. So let's get to it, you all. I'm really excited to be here today with you. If you are joining me live, please be sure to say hello and let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching on the replay, know that I love to come back and have conversations with you. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Sarah Campbell, and I am a business strategist and marketing and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. And I go live here every single Wednesday at 12 p.m. noon, where we talk about those topics, where we break down the business stuff, where we look at marketing for your studios, and where we examine the mindsets that we need to have in place to get those other 2 things to work. So I'm so glad that you're here with me today. And before we get to the goods, let's bring in a little music. Okay, so the topic of the day is how client perception impacts the revenue in your music studio. And I've already said that we're going to be going through 3 specific ways that you can positively influence client perception. And we're going to break those down. It's a really interesting topic, and these are totally doable items for you all. So I'm really hoping that you're going to be able to walk away with a lot of takeaways today. And speaking of takeaways, this is our way here at the broadcast of learning out loud together. So if you hear something that is of value to you, then make sure to share that with us. Give us a hashtag takeaway and tell us what you found valuable. And it's a great way for those who are watching on the replay. They can see all those things popping up in the comments and they know what to be listening for. Okay, good morning. I see Elizabeth's tuning in from Central New York. Karen's here from St. Louis, Missouri. Laura's tuning in from Canada. Thank you, Sally. I just did my physical therapy home exercises right before the broadcast. Good morning, Deborah. Nice to see you as well. If you have a teacher friend who would benefit from joining in on this conversation, I invite you to let them know about this and to welcome them in. The more the merrier. We love to learn out loud with everybody. I do have the Savvy Sarah bot set up today to send you the show notes. So if you'd like that quick recap so that you can refer to it later on, then if you drop a perception below, she will deliver that to you via messenger here on the Book of Face. And for those who are watching the YouTube replay, just hey there to all of the YouTube subscribers. Look in the description of this post and you will see clear timestamps that tell you all of the steps that we're going through. So that will be your way to be able to remember those things. All right, so let's get started today. The first item on the list. Okay. Before we get to the first item, I just want to quickly define what we're talking about when I mention the idea of client perception. So you know that I love to talk about branding. And one of the things that's kind of fascinating about branding is that we actually don't get to define our own brand as much as our clients do. So let me just dig into that for a moment. Our clients' perception of our brand indeed becomes our brand. Now, there's all different types of ways that we can influence that perception, and that's what we're really examining today. How can we have a positive impact on the perception of what people believe our businesses are about? And how can we break it down into doable items? Hey there, Pete. Nice to see you this morning. Okay, so let's look at item number 1. item number one is that we really need to understand our customer experience. And what's interesting is that today I was popping into some of the forums that I run. Oh, there you see the cat walking around in the background. And I was in Voice Teachers Central, and I came across a post where somebody was talking about their perception of another company, and how that company had really not invested in creating an easy customer experience. Their website was really difficult to use. So when it came to like navigating and finding the things that they had paid for, it was frustrating, and they were finding themselves like, wasting hours of time because the customer journey was not clear and the customer experience was not easy. And so that's one of the first things that I encourage you to look at. What does your customer experience look like? Now, we can break this down into two different areas. One, we're looking at what's the customer experience like from the clients that you currently have. And two, what is the customer experience like from the potential clients that find their way to you on the interwebs or in real life? So let's break it down first. The first one that we mentioned was the clients that you already have. Because when we are trying to influence customer perception, right, we want to make sure that the clients that we have are happy and that we've made their experience really easy. So I'd love to know, for those who are watching now or later on, how have you made your customer experience for current clients easy for them to go through? It might be something like using some type of a scheduling software. It could be, using some type of a customer portal so that they can I hear my cat yowling downstairs. So that they sorry guys, so that they can easily access like their lesson notes, different types of things that you might send them, files, music, that kind of a thing. How have you made your customer experience easy for your current clients? I'd love you to share those tips down below so that we can learn from one another. I'll share a couple of things that I've done in my different businesses. One of the ways that I've tried to make my customer experience easy for my clients in my music studio is that I'm using, my music staff. And last year, as we went into the online realm, all of us, I started using more features that I hadn't been using before. So I started using the lesson notes features, which allowed me to type up everything that we did, and then it would automatically send it out via email to both the parent and the student. And they were able to then access those things. If they logged into the student portal, they were able to see all of the notes from previous lessons. They were able to get a hold of all of the online resources that I was sending to them. So it was an easy experience for them. And I actually got feedback from a couple of parents when we shifted into doing in-person lessons over the summer. They asked, hey, do you think that you could still send us those lesson notes? Like, we really liked being able to see all of the things that you were doing, and it was a great way for us to be able to encourage our kids at home. So that was like one way in the music studio. And then on the other side of things, like with the Savvy business, I use a software called Acuity, and Acuity makes it easy for people of all different time zones to book sessions with me. And, it delivers like automatic reminders, it gives them Zoom links, it gives them all these things that make their life easier so that they don't have to hunt around for stuff. So I'm going to detail a couple more areas where we can, woo, hey, we got a visitor. I'm going to bring her on camera because she just like launched herself. Say good morning, Freya. This is Freya. She's 1 year old and she's a total badass. All right. So, I'm going to detail a way that we can really understand our customer experience and how you can examine your own. So I see a couple of comments here that are really great. I'm just going to keep holding this girl. If you like seeing cats on the broadcast, give me some hearts and some thumbs up. Oops, she definitely wants down now. Okay, you sit on the captain's chair. Okay, I see, like Sally says that she's starting to use my music staff. for scheduling and payments. Great. And you have a welcome email that that you send out once a parent says they want lessons. Awesome. So you're automating some things. That's really great. Karen's like, hey, Freya. So let's examine a specific way that you can examine your customer experience. All right, here it is. When was the last time that you went through a new customer experience in your own business? So we've talked about what we can do with the clients that we have, right? Now let's talk about prospective clients. So one of the best ways to examine your customer experience is to go through it yourself, or to have a friend go through it, somebody who maybe like wasn't aware of your website before, and to ask them to go to the website and to look at like what would the new customer experience look like. So what we're examining in this process is it easy for people to understand what you do, who you do that with, and how you help the people that you work with? Is it easy for them to understand those three things? And then is it easy for them to start the process? Have you laid it out in a way that tells them, here's the first step that you need to take in order to start your musical journey at our studio? And in that process, is it simple for them to find, the link that takes them to that first step? Are there touch points throughout that customer experience, like throughout that inquiry process, where they are getting personal attention, where you're sending reminders, where you're giving them the things that they need in order to proceed and join you? So we really need to understand that customer experience, because sometimes, we kind of set it and forget it. Like we figure out some things and we slap them on the website, and then a couple years go by and maybe some things have broken and you just haven't known it, or maybe there's like a couple of holes in that experience, in that journey. And it's important to examine those, because if we don't, then we run the risk of losing people who would actually want to book with us. So they're like falling out in the inquiry process. So that's one of the ways that client perception impacts the revenue that you make. So your first step is to really get to know your customer experience. If you are going to dig into that, give us some takeaways with what you are going to examine in your own customer experience. Okay, let's move on to item number 2. Item number 2 is to gather and respond to client reviews. So this is really important because reviews are a fabulous form of what we call social proof. Proof that people love working with you, proof that they've had positive experiences when they've joined your studio. And, these types of positive experiences are sometimes shared via word of mouth, right? And that's fabulous because we all love referral marketing. My guess is that the majority of your clients come to you through referral marketing. So we can start to influence client perception by making sure that we are consistently gathering reviews from people. This could be as simple as, hey, you have a really positive lesson experience with one of your students, and you reach out to that mom or dad afterwards to say, you know what? Timmy and I had a fabulous lesson today. I'm so proud of these things that he's achieved over the years. And I was wondering if you could take 3 minutes of your time to leave a positive review over on our Facebook page or my Google My Business account. I would love to be able to attract more families just like yours. Just making that ask, right? It can be as simple as that. And I know, I'm going to be honest, I know that everything that I just said there might not feel simple to you, and that's okay. Because if you aren't accustomed to asking for client reviews, that process can feel a little bit scary at first, but I can promise you that once you start doing those things and you're doing them consistently, and you see the results when people do leave those reviews, it gets a lot easier. So the first thing is to make sure that we are gathering those reviews. If that resonates with you, let me know below in the comments. And the second step is to make sure we're responding to them, right? So It's something that we often forget, but it's really important to make sure that we are keeping track of those reviews that come in. So if you have a review from a client that's left on your reviews tab here on Facebook, then it's time to go back to that review and, first off, respond to it with a heart, and then literally respond to it. Type out a thank you and let people know how much you value them being a part of the studio. This type of stuff is really key because potential clients go to your website, they go to your Google My Business listing, they go to your socials, and they are looking for what other people are saying. So when they come across that review tab and they see that not only are people shouting your praises and saying beautiful things about all the things that you've provided in their life with music, they also see that you are there responding to them. It's really important. Yeah. Yes, I see that client. Amy says client reviews Facebook posts. Yes. Oh, okay. I see. I make my client reviews Facebook posts. And now I understand the sentence. Yeah, that's a great thing to do. If somebody leaves a review for you, you can make it into a wonderful graphic and share it as a social post. It's another way to positively influence client perception. Okay, so that is item number 2. If you want to put it out into the universe right now that you are going to commit to getting some more reviews, let's do that. Say it out loud to yourself. I am committing to getting more client reviews over the next 3 months. I can't wait to see those reviews. There's another cat. All right, here we go. Let's move on to item number 3. Okay, another great way to positively influence client perception is to be consistent in your branding and your marketing. So let me define those couple of things real quick. So the branding would be, being consistent with telling people what your values are inside of the studio, telling people or showing people what kind of clients you work with, and being able to message things in a way that really speaks to those ideal clients. I know last week in the masterclass, we talked a lot about that, right? We talked a lot about the importance of knowing your ideal client so that you can start crafting messages that speak specifically to them. So that's one thing. We want consistency in our branding so that people understand who we work with and how we help them. And then number 2, we want our marketing efforts to also be consistent. So this ties in like this to the branding. So once you're clear on the branding, then the marketing becomes easier because you do know what words to use and you do know what types of things your ideal clients need to believe about you, believe about themselves, and believe about the experiences of others who have worked with you. Because when they can look at those 3 things, if they can hold those beliefs about you, about the clients that you've helped, and about themselves, they are more likely to reach out and to become actual clients instead of just potential clients. It's a really cool thing. So consistency in your branding and marketing is something that is really key. We want those people who arrive on your website, who arrive on your socials, to understand very clearly that this is who you are. This is what you stand for in your studio. These are the people that you work with. And this is how you can help that potential client. So, all right, we're going to recap through all of these things. But first, I have a little bonus tip for you guys. And I think this one's a good one. And this is one that you can put into action today. Okay, so if you're ready to take action today, I think that would be fabulous. I see Janet has shared a takeaway. Client reviews can become Facebook posts. Yeah, mind blown, right? Sally says that she is definitely committing to getting more client reviews. That is awesome. And Amy says that she's going to commit too. Oh, excellent. Laura says the takeaway is to ask for reviews consistently. Yeah, make it a part of your monthly practice. Put it into those admin hours that you have on the schedule, right? And if you don't have admin hours on the schedule, consider that something to put on your to-do item for Q4, since we are just a few days from that. All right, let's look at this bonus tip. So the bonus tip today is this: the little things matter. So let's talk about little things. When we want to positively influence the perception of our current clients, one of the easiest things that we can do is to remember to say thank you. Not just when, something amazing happens, but when those little things happen, So like today I have a thank you note to write to one of my parents because when she brought her son back for in-person lessons for the first time a couple of weeks ago, she came bearing gifts. She gave me 2 little cuttings of plants that she had potted because she knows how much I love plants. And she brought those into the studio, and it was just a very thoughtful gesture. So, making those thank you notes and sending them in the mail can be really important. If your students have gone through tough things in the past year, if you've had students who might have gotten COVID or all of these, really dramatic things that are happening, taking that extra time to send a text and check in to see how they are, or to send a get well card, or, those little tiny things, they add up. They add up. And we can do this with potential clients as well, right? So if you have people that are like in your sphere and you can kind of see they're probably thinking about getting lessons for their 7-year-old soon, making sure that you see what's going on with them, check on their social media, see what they've been posting about, reach out and ask them how the school year is going. These little tiny things, not when we're like, I'm not saying go out there and just sell things. No, little tiny human connections are so validating and valuable, right? So those little things, they definitely add up. Yes, Karen says she always does handwritten thank you notes. It's great. Oh, this is cool. Pete is sharing information about one of the things that he's using in his studio here. He says he's using Bublup. I love it. Students love it. So easy. Share notes, files, videos, links to anything. And I've left notes with links to review. Very, very cool. I love that. I'm going to have to check that out. Thanks, Pete. Okay, so let's do a rapid recap, shall we? Okay, the topic of the day is that we want to have our potential clients and our current clients, we want to have them to have a positive perception of what we offer in our studios. Now, there are ways that we can influence perception of our studio, of our brand, and with our marketing. And when we do these things, it positively impacts our revenue because it increases client retention, and it also makes it easier for people to understand what you are about and encourages them to reach out and book with you. So let's look at all of these things today. Item number 1, you need to understand your customer experience. And we're looking at this from 2 ways. 1, we want to make sure that our current client experience is positive, that we make life easier for them, that we make it better for them. And we can do that with all kinds of cool things, right? It might be software that you use, it might be things that are automated, it might be more like high touch things that you can do in your studio. We want their customer experience to be amazing because this is going to actually influence number 2 in just a second. Now, when it comes to potential clients, we need to understand what their customer experience feels like. So if it's been a while since you've looked at your social media accounts, since you've looked at your website, I encourage you to go through the customer experience with fresh eyes and, come at it from the standpoint of, okay, if I was a person who's never been to this site, never, looked at it before, do I know what this music studio is about, the people that the music studio works with, how the studio helps those people? Do I know those 3 things? And most importantly, do I know how the process works to get started? So we want to examine those experiences so that it's easy and we're not losing people along that inquiry line. Number 2, we want to gather and respond to client reviews. This is why we lean into making current client experiences positive, right? And easy. So make it a regular practice that you are reaching out to specific families each month and asking them to leave positive reviews or to share their positive experience over on your Google My Business page, on your Facebook, or just via email so you can put that testimonial on a website, right? And when they do send those things to you, make sure that you respond to those client reviews. Give them the little heart icons, give them a sentence thanking them for, being a part of the studio, and tell them how much you value them being there. This is a great way to build social proof, and it influences positive perception of your brand to potential clients. Number 3, we want consistency in our branding and marketing. We want it to be very clear for these new people who come across us that this is who we work with, this is how we work with them, and this is how we make their lives better through music. So we need to get all those items consistent on websites, on socials, on different, listings that you might be on. And we want to be able to dig into that and understand our music studio brand so that marketing becomes really easy, because we know what to say to that ideal client. We understand what they're looking for. We understand the challenges that they are facing. And so that's why the branding and marketing come together like this, right? And of course, a bonus tip for today, remember that the little things matter. Those little thank you notes, those little text messages that you send out to your current clients, they matter. And you can do little things for potential clients as well. There's all types of ways that we can reach out to people and help them and make their lives better. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed the content today. If you did, and you know that you have a teacher friend who would benefit from joining in on these conversations, please be sure to invite them and let them know that this is going on. Of course, the more the merrier, because we love to learn out loud. If you would like to get a hold of, if you would like to get a hold of the show notes from today, drop a perception below, and the Savvy Sarah bot will reach out to you and send you a recap of what we've chatted about via Messenger. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I see some great comments coming through. I can't wait to go back and respond to your comments. And I will be back here next week. I do want to mention Branding Bootcamp is starting on October 3rd, and we only have 5 spots left. So if this is something that you're interested in and you want to learn more, drop a branding below, and I will personally reach out to you so that we can have a conversation about how Branding Bootcamp can help your studio. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. I will be back next week, and in the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing teacher. And there's no one quite like you in this world. And I think that you are pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody. We will see you next week.